Hey there, my friends. It's Andy coming to you from Yorba Linda, California. And yes, PYLUSD and our kids are in deep, deep, deep trouble. And I'm going to go into a little bit more to explain this. But yesterday I did Instagram Live, and I was just going to leave it at that one Instagram Live, bringing up the subject for the time being, of course. But I got a comment from one of the typical people that are in our community that's part of the hate groups of this Yorba Linda Moms, PYL Buzz, this group of women who really hate parents and education and conservatism and anything else that looks like what is good for this country. They hate the country, they hate capitalism, but in their hatred, what they're trying to do is, of course, destroy our education. And now we find ourselves in a place where we have at least 6 women now, and there's more, but at least the ones that are out front, who are going to bring back, and I'll go back to my thumbnail, DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, as you know, CRT, which is critical race theory, SEL, which is social emotional learning. All 3 of those are the same thing. They just use different acronyms and different words to describe the same thing. They're all racist and socialistic propaganda in ways of teaching kids to hate this country, which then will bring it into humanism, Marxism, communism, and Islamism, which is now grouped together in a red-green alliance that is destroying this country. It is truly a hatred for this country. And the way that they can destroy this country is by attacking families, parents, children, wrecking our education to where they stop actually educating and continue to indoctrinate them in all these horrible isms, which are far more than what I have listed on that blackboard. And so we have this group of people that are currently in PYLUSD, these 6 women that are bringing back or codifying or growing this indoctrination in our schools. And they're in the process of doing that. They're going to take the summer to create programs and to figure out how it is they can put more of this into the education and take out reading, writing, counting, and thinking. And that is their plan. And how do I know that? Well, besides Tricia Quintero and Marilyn Anderson and Carrie Buck, and Kim Esparza, who was the superintendent. They're bringing in these 2 other women. And so first one is the assistant superintendent. This is her LinkedIn that I'm going to show you right now, Candace Pelt. And you see right off the bat, the first 2 words are social justice, which you know is a buzzword for all of those other things, CRT, SEL, DEI, and Marxism and communism is what social justice actually means when you put it on there. And then if you go to the right where it says there are no other people's children, we are a global society and they are all our children. So what she's trying to claim there by reposting this post is that our children are not our children. They truly believe that. You could look at some of the laws that were put into place here in the state of California that would allow people that aren't the children's parents or step-parents or responsible parties in their family. They put in laws so that people that are not related to the kids can actually take them out of the school without even having to notify the parents. These are the laws that they have been working on getting in and have even got into our state that tell you everything you need to know, that they do not believe that our children, my 6 children, are mine, that they are the states or they're the federal governments when they're in control. And that's what Candace Pelt believes, and that's who they just made assistant superintendent. The next woman they brought in is this Ellen Mary Hickmann, who they've hired as a consultant, and you can see there, I think they both have those pronouns. Anybody that puts a pronoun in their email or in their LinkedIn, you should probably delete them and never communicate with them because there's already something wrong when somebody's using pronouns. But if you go to the right, you can see what her licenses and certificates are, and they are in diversity and inclusion. Go back to my blackboard, which says DEI, right? They're bringing her in so that she can help bring it into the schools in a more solidified way. And you see that IDI Qualified Administrator. IDI is a program that teaches teachers how to teach DEI, how to bring it in. And again, I include CRT and SEL and all those other things in there, that this IDI LLC is an organization that has put together a training program for not only educators, but primarily educators, but also for businesses to continue this nonsense that many businesses are taking out. And that is currently what's going on. That these 6 women combined, because they're all working together, are working together to destroy PYLUSD. We had a brief moment where we had Dr. Chernus and Dr. Gates, Beth Fisher, Leandra, Todd, and Sean in some ways, was making a difference. They were bringing education back to PYLUSD. Enrollment was increasing after years of it dropping. We had grades increasing. We had the understanding of reading and writing and counting going up in all areas, whether it was the general student or students of need, or even some of our underserved communities in our district. And it was all going up. They had tutoring, they had all kinds of programs that were helping kids to learn, and took out indoctrination. We banned CRT and a bunch of other things. But they want to reverse all that. Their plan is to reverse what was created under Dr. Chernus as our superintendent, because what they do immediately when they got elected and the teachers union took over the school district again is they suspended Chernus, they suspended Gates, they harassed principals and teachers that weren't going along with the programs of CRT, DEI, SEL, and they made their lives miserable. Well, many of them ended up resigning. They suspended Gates and Chernus and had no intention of ever bringing them back, even after a very costly investigation that showed that they did nothing wrong ever, until they just finally said, you know what, enough of this. I'm going to go to districts that appreciate me. Dr. Chernus goes to Beverly Hills. I believe Gates went there too. We had coaches go to Beverly Hills. We had teachers go to Beverly Hills. We had principals go to Beverly Hills. Why? Because they want to educate. They didn't want to participate in what it is these 6 women are currently bringing into PYLUSD. And that's what's happening now. That is why our children in this district are in deep, deep trouble. And so you need to know that's what is happening. These are the people that they're hiring. And so the reason I decided to now do a YouTube video on it was to, again, bring your attention to that, but now understand what the call has been to the cabal of these hate groups, Yoruba Linda Moms, PYL Buzz, and others, is that now they need to try to destroy anybody that speaks out about it, which, again, this is no different. It's not this day is not different to me than any other day, because they've been trying to silence me for the last 6 years. But you got this Danelle, I don't know how to say it. She's corrected me in school board meetings before, but she writes this in the Yoruba Linda community post and says, oh no, the guy who stood up and publicly admitted to sitting outside El Dorado High School and checking out the teenage girls, and then stood up at another meeting and shared with dozens of people that his kid did drugs in high school, think our kids are in deep trouble. And then underneath that, it says, that's a knee slapper, I think is what she continues there. And then, of course, in Instagram, she essentially writes the same thing. And I like Chris's response there. It says the wackadoodle with pronouns on its profile. And then she quotes Taylor Swift, a grown woman. I think she's like 50 years old. She's apparently a fan of Taylor Swift. Okay. So with all that, just again, I've responded to this nonsense so much. That is not what happened. I just recently did a video that showed the actual screen shots from my YouTube video that I did, that simply was stating that the dress code is not being followed. And I simply said, in the short period of time that you drop off your kid at school, you see violations of the dress code. And I didn't say anything about girls necessarily. I said students. So that includes girls, but it also includes boys that have the middle finger on their T-shirts, or they have a Budweiser can, or you have girls that have strapless tops on, and that's not what she's trying to claim. I'm just saying that if any parent just dropped off their kids, what do you close your eyes when you drive up to the school? Again, I'm a police officer of a few decades, and a sex crimes detective whose job was to identify crimes that are occurring at any time. That is my job, or violations of a rule, and they can make out whatever it is they want to make out and say inflammatory words to say that I said something else. But it was simply a statement of saying, when just in the period of time you drop off your kids, you can see all kinds of violations of the dress code. I didn't specifically say anything on that video. Then on the screenshots I shared were the pictures of boys and girls in the clothes that are acceptable and the clothes that aren't acceptable. None of the pictures were pictures of kids actually at school. They were from Amazon, and sharing the different clothes that are on there that can be acceptable and those that cannot. The other thing about my daughter, who we've clearly spoke about hundreds of times. My wife goes around the United States on stage in front of the church parishioners and talks about some of the difficulties that you can have as a parent when your child decides that, hey, I want to try narcotics, and some of the struggles that they can go through. And I have shared on YouTube videos that El Dorado was dangerous for my daughter to be in that school, because we visited with the principal and vice principal on several occasions saying the bathrooms are dangerous for our kids. They're selling drugs in the bathrooms. They are doing drugs in the bathrooms. Now, everybody will say, well, they did that in our day. It seems to be markedly different now, especially with fentanyl being a concern, with all the vaping that's going on. And now they're selling and trading some of these drugs in the bathrooms, that many kids don't even want to go to the bathrooms. And then you have boys in the girls' bathrooms on top of it all. It is markedly different now than it was even when I was in school. You had kids that smoked cigarettes in the bathroom, but not taking fentanyl, not using coke, not vaping, whatever other harmful ingredients that they're vaping. And the principal and vice principal, Joey Davis in particular, refused to do anything about it. As a matter of fact, he told the police officers and harassed them so much that they filed a hostile work environment, because he did not want the police doing policing on the school campus, and harassed them and told them not to do it, and continued to harass them until they finally filed the hostile work environment against him. And that's a fact. And so, yes, I have shared. I shared at a school board meeting. I've shared on stage. My wife shared in her book, Living Fearless in Christ, the story of how damaging and harmful El Dorado High School was and Joey Davis was, that we had to pull our daughter out. And lo and behold, we pull our daughter out, we homeschool her, and now she is a thriving woman who goes to Arizona Christian University and has stopped all the nonsense. Why? Because we got her out of the toxic environment that El Dorado had at the time under the leadership of Joey Davis. I'll just share you a couple pictures. That's her getting baptized. I had the honor of baptizing her in the pool. That is her and I in Big Bear, out having sushi, and her just before she leaves to go to Arizona Christian University. So yes, Danelle, I did share my daughter's horrific experience at El Dorado High School under very poor leadership. And I got to tell you, the leadership is even worse now, not probably the principal, but I'm talking about PYLUSD. The superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the consultant, and Quintero, Anderson, and Buck are creating a culture. It's going to lead to more children that are going to get hurt, that are going to commit suicide, that are not going to be educated, and the parents need to know what is happening in their schools. So I will continue to share my personal story. I believe our testimony. I've shared my testimony hundreds of times at different events and speaking on stage. I will share the testimony of my family, because I'm not afraid, like unfortunately so many parents are, to speak up I see them all the time. They stop me at the grocery store. They stop me at Starbucks and they say, thank you for doing what you're doing. Unfortunately, I can't do that because of X or Y, but we appreciate you doing that. And again, I understand the comment that was on Instagram by my friend who said, you're essentially, he was saying that I was participating in the same thing that they're doing. But what I would just want to say to that is that we cannot be silent. We cannot allow them to have the only platform, the only megaphone where they're able to say that Leandro's a murderer, insurrectionist, that I'm a misogynist, that I'm racist, that I'm all these things, when we have serious threats against our children. If we only allow that voice to speak up, we have to point out what it is they are saying, which are lies and made up stories, and the lie that socialism is good, because it's not. It's killed more people in this world over the hundreds of years than almost any war has over the years. Islam is the biggest threat to our country right now. It's the biggest threat to our children. It is not a religion of peace. It is a religion, a political movement, and a military that is set on overtaking countries, starting with schools, cities, counties, and states. And it is happening now. And you need to know that. They have partnered up with the Marxists and socialists. And the very people that are screaming about how their lives are in danger because they're LGBTQ have no idea what's coming for them if Islam does take over this country. They will be hung, their heads will be chopped off, they'll be thrown off of buildings. But they've partnered up with I'm trying to find the right word because I'm trying to not be vulgar, but it is a terrorist organization. The top 7 terrorist organizations are all what? Islamic. All 7 of the top terrorist organizations are Islamic. The TSA was created to protect travelers from Islamic terrorists. I'm not sure what it is that you're missing on this whole thing, but it is something that is being taught in our schools. There are schools that have hijab day. They have prayer moments where they ask kids that are Christian and Catholics and kids that are atheists to pretend that they're in Islam or that they're Muslims. And again, I'm not saying, and my wife says this too, we don't hate Muslims because there's many very good Muslims. Her family happens to be Muslim and we love her family. But the Sharia law and the Quran are incompatible with a constitutional republic. That's just a fact. The two do not align. They do not go together. And you need to understand that. And we'll be speaking out a little bit more about that later on. So I hope you understand what's happening. These 6 women do not know what they're doing. They're incompetent people that are in charge of our school district right now. And we need some change fast and quick. And we need to slow this monster down because it's going to destroy something that could actually be good. We've seen the goodness of PYLUSD under the leadership of Dr. Chernus and Dr. Gates and all the others that were there at the time, and it can be good. And they were able to make a big change in a very short period of time. And we're able to bring those grades up and enrollment up. And we can get back to that very quickly. We have an election coming up in November. We have some great candidates that will be running. And so we'll be making announcements who those people are in the upcoming days. All right, my friends, that's it. We'll talk to you later. Take care.